Good morning, dear students. I am here with a new chapter, that is chapter number 4, and the chapter is Structure of the Atom. Okay, this is part 1 of the chapter. Now, let me show you what we are going to learn in this part. In this part, we will discuss three topics. The first is charged particles in the matter, then the structure of the atom, and then Thomson's model of an atom. Okay, so let me start. If you remember, in chapter 3, we learn about atoms and molecules. And you know that atoms and molecules are the fundamental building blocks of the matter. And the existence of different kinds of matter is also due to these different kind of atoms. Okay. But now the question is, what makes the atom of one element different from the atom of another element? And the another question is, are atoms really indivisible as proposed by John Dalton in his atomic theory? So all these questions will be answered in this chapter, and one by one we'll discuss all these things, right? We'll discuss about subatomic particles also, and we'll discuss various models of atom. Okay? So now let us come to the first point, that is charged particles in the matter. To understand this, we are supposed to do an activity, and the activity is very simple. This activity 4.1 is given in your textbook, and the activity is you just have to comb your dry hair and then you bring that comb near to the pieces of the paper. What do you observe? You observe that comb starts picking up small pieces of paper. And why does this happen? This happen due to the static electricity. Let me explain this activity in detail to you. See, here you can see this is the comb and these are the hairs. Okay, both the hair and the comb have equal positive and negative charges. You can see in comb also positive charge is there. Okay, and negative charge is also there. And in your hair, positive and negative, both the charges are there. Okay, and these both are having equal positive and negative charge. So that is why they are neutral. They do not have any charge on them. Number of positive amount of positive charge and negative charge in equal in this comb. So the net amount of charge will be 0. So at that time it has no charge. But when you rub your comb or when you comb your dry hair, at that time some negative charge is gone to your dry hair. Okay, so what will happen now? Now hair will be having more negative charge and this comb will be having more positive charge. Okay, so now they have become charged, and that is why when you bring this comb near to the pieces of paper, it starts attracting those pieces of paper. Okay, so what do you conclude from this activity? From this activity we conclude that on rubbing two objects together they become electrically charged. And now the question is, from where this charge come? This question can be answered by knowing that atom is divisible and consists of charged particles. Okay, so now you know that atom is divisible and atom has subatomic particles, they are charged. So many scientists contributed to find out the presence of charged particles in atom. In the starting of 1900, the atom was known indivisible, but now you know atom is divisible and atom is made up of three subatomic particles, and those particles are electron, proton and neutron. But in 1900, by 1900, it was known that atom is indivisible. It was suggested by John Dalton in his atomic theory. Okay, so it was J.J. Thomson who first discovered electron, and in 1886 E. Goldstein also observed presence of a positive charge particle during a radiation in gas discharge, and he called them canal rays. Okay, these rays were positively charged radiations, and this led to the discovery of another subatomic particle that was positive charge particle, and it was named as proton. This particle was equal in magnitude but opposite in sign to that of the electron. Means this particle was having equal charge as electron has, and but the charge was negative. Electron is negative charge and proton is positively charged. And the mass of this charged particle was approximately 2000 times as that of the electron. Mean to say is in the comparison of this particle, electrons mass of the electron can be considered zero or negligible, right? So now you know that atom has three subatomic particles, and these three subatomic particles are named as neutron, proton, and electron. Okay, electron is represented as E minus, and a proton is represented as P plus. Okay, electron has negative charge and proton has positive charge. The mass of proton is taken as 1 unit, and charge is plus 1, and mass of electron is taken negligible and its charge is minus 1. Neutron is located in nucleus. Proton is also there in nucleus, while electron is rotating or orbiting around the nucleus in its orbit. As I told you, neutron has no charge, proton has positively charged, and electron is negatively charged. So, in the starting, it was considered that atom is composed of two subatomic particles. They are protons and electrons. Okay, and these protons and electrons are balancing their charges. And it also appeared that protons were in the interior of the atom while electrons are not. And it was easy to remove the electrons, but it was not easy to remove the protons from inside the atom. Okay, now the question was, what sort of structure did these particles of the atom form? Mean to say is how protons and electrons are arranged inside the atom. Is there any pattern, or they are like that only inside the atom? To find the answer of this question, many scientists they came up and they gave their models. One by one, we will study their models. Before that, let me answer these questions. The question number one is, what are canal rays? So canal rays are the radiations. They are positively charged. The next question is, if an atom contains one electron and one proton, will it carry any charge or not? See, if an atom contains one electron and one proton, then it will not carry any charge. Why? Because see, proton is positively charged particle and electron is negatively charged particle. Okay, so if proton has plus one charge, as it is said over here, ki atom carries one proton. So if atom carries one proton means plus one charge, and if atom carries one electron, it means minus one. Okay, so the net charge on the atom will be zero, or it is neutral. So the particle will become neutral. Okay, here this is the experiment of canal rays. This is the animation of the experiment. Here you can see the electrons emitted from the cathode and they collide with the gas atoms. The gas atoms is filled in this tube. Okay, and this collision leave behind ions, and these ions are positively charged, and these produced positively charged ions, and these ions travel towards the cathode. Okay, any of the positive ions pass through the perforations that create canal rays in cathode disk. So that is the experiment of canal rays. Now we come to the next topic, that is structure of the atom. As you remember, Dalton's atomic theory suggested that atom was indivisible and indestructible. But the discovery of two fundamental particles, electron and protons, led to the failure of this aspect of Dalton's atomic theory. Okay, and then it was considered कि inside the atom electrons and protons are there, so atom is no more indivisible. Okay, now the question is how electrons and protons are arranged within the atom. To explain this structure of atom, many scientists proposed their atomic models, and it was Sir J.J. Thomson who first came up with his atomic model. So what was the atomic model of Sir J.J. Thomson that we will study here? This is the picture of Sir J.J. Thomson. He was a British scientist. He was British physicist, and he was awarded the Nobel Prize in Physics in 1906 for his work on discovery of electron. J.J. Thomson proposed the model of an atom that was similar to Christmas pudding or watermelon. Why it was called pudding model or watermelon model? Because he said that electrons in a sphere of positively charged were like dry fruits in a spherical Christmas pudding. Let me explain it to you. See, just follow my marker. This sphere, consider this sphere a bowl of pudding. Okay, and these are the dry fruits in the pudding. The same pudding bowl is considered as an atom. This sphere is atom and this red part is totally positively charged. Okay, so positively charged is everywhere in this sphere, while negatively charged electrons are considered as dry fruits. So this bowl of pudding is like an atom. That is why this model of Thomson was considered as Christmas pudding model. Okay, it can be considered as watermelon model. Why? See, in picture you see the watermelon. This is watermelon. Again, this red part is considered as positive charge. The whole red part totally. Okay, and these black color seeds are electrons. So at that time, what was there inside the atom? Only positive charge and negative charge. So all the positive charge is spreading over here, this red part. Okay, and this is negative charge. Okay. So in the watermelon, the positive charge is spread all over like red edible part of this watermelon, while the electrons are stirred in the positively charged sphere like the seeds. So this was atomic model of J.J. Thomson. In his atomic model, Sir J.J. Thomson proposed very important points. He proposed that the atom consists of positively charged sphere and the electrons are embedded in it, right? And the second point was the negative and positive charges are equal in magnitude. That is why the atom is electrically neutral. This is very important point. This is the answer of the question why atom is electrically neutral. See, inside the atom there is positive charge and a negative charge, and both the charges are equal in magnitude. That is why atom becomes electrically neutral. Okay. See, so this was the atomic model proposed by Thomson. And see, although Thomson model explained that atoms are electrically neutral, but it could not uh, explain the results of the experiments that was carried out by other scientists. And that is why Thomson model could not be accepted. So let me discuss the limitations of Thomson model. Here are the limitations of Thomson model. Thomson atomic model could not explain how the positive charge holds on the electrons inside the atom, and this model could not explain atom stability. Thomson model did not mention anything about nucleus of an atom, and later on when Rutherford did an experiment with of alpha scattering, so alpha scattering experiment could not be explained with the help of this Thomson model. Okay, so these were the limitations of Thomson model. That is why Thomson model of an atom was not accepted, but really it was a great work. And after that, many scientists they modified this and they came up with another models. Okay, so this was Thomson atomic model. This watermelon, if it is an atom, this red part is positive charge. The whole red part is positive charge. And these black seeds are considered electron. So electron have negative charge and this red part is positive charge. So this way positive and negative charges are there inside the atom. This was suggested by Thomson. That is why it is known as Thomson's atomic model. Here are some dates of discovery of subatomic particles. Electron was discovered by Sir J. J. Thomson in 1896. Then proton was discovered by Rutherford in 1918. Then neutron was discovered by James Chadwick in 1932. Okay. Other discoveries are also mentioned over here. Radioactivity by Henry Becquerel in 1896. Alpha and beta particles by Rutherford in 1899. Nucleus was also discovered by Rutherford. And isotopes were discovered by Sir J. J. Thomson in 1913. Here are the pictures of the scientists who discovered subatomic particles, electrons, protons, and neutrons. He is J. J. Thomson. He discovered electron in 1897, right? And he is Goldstein, a German scientist. He discovered positive charged particles in 1898. He is Rutherford, and he discovered proton and nucleus inside the atom in 1911. And he is James Chadwick. He discovered neutron in 1932. Here is a very interesting fact that Chadwick discovered neutron and Rutherford discovered proton and Thomson discovered electron. Chadwick, who discovered neutron, was a student of Rutherford, and who discovered proton, was a student of J. J. Thomson. What a coincidence and what a interesting fact it is. So thank you, students. This much was there in this session. I hope you liked the session. And you do one thing, you read the chapter once again and then go through this video. Now we'll meet in part 2 of this video. Thank you.